New head George Sampaoli arrived in Lima, Peru last Thursday to take on their northern neighbors as the two countries in a World Cup qualifier. Fans from both countries gathered outside the Lima hotel where Chile will be staying, hurling insults at each other. Last Friday's clash at Peru's national stadium will see Peru without goal-scoring threat Paolo Guerrero, who is out on yellow cards. Chile fans predicted their side will take a win under Sampaoli, who took over for former coach Claudio Bogi. 2-0, Chile is going to win. Sampaoli is coach. We are going to attack the goal now. Peru lost half of its attack with Guerrero, said another. Police guarded the Chilean players as they got off the bus and already had a massive security deployment underway at the stadium. Regional Police Chief Carlos Gomez said police weren't taking any chances at the match between the two countries that have had prickly diplomatic relations for decades. There are a total of 2,387 police officers who are going to provide security, he said. Both Chile and Peru sorely need a win to keep their hopes for a Brazil 2014 berth alive. Chile is in 6th place with 12 points from 9 matches, 8 points behind leaders Argentina. Peru has just 8 points and sits second to last over Paraguay. The top 4 finishers in the 9-nation group will qualify for the finals in Brazil next year. The 5th place team will go into a 2-legged playoff with an Asian country for an additional berth.
That was from the Lima Hotel in Peru where Chile is staying, and you can see the fans are definitely taking it a step higher, and the heat is building up in expectation of the match on Friday. So with that story, we have to go in for a short commercial break, and I will see you on the other side. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Sri Lanka. We're here with you today from the sets of Game Changer, and just to remind you, Game Changer airs every Friday at 8 p.m. with the best sports personalities who will sit down to have a chat with Rai. And you will get to know a different side of them and hear all the inspiring stories that went behind them being such dynamic personalities in the sporting arena. So from the sports world on Good Morning Sri Lanka, we have another very interesting story. Now, as you know, the African qualifier cup for the World Football League is taking place, and the new African champion was crowned, so to speak, as Nigeria. And also, it is the Ivory Coast, Nigeria and Egypt who are the top qualifiers of the African contenders for the FIFA World Cup, which is going to be held in 2014. Now, of that, the Ivory Coast will not be going forward with one of their best players, their main striker Didier Drogba. Now, apparently Drogba has been ruled out of the squad due to injury. The coach has made a statement saying that due to injury, the main striker will not be playing with the team in the following matches, and the Ivory Coast, Nigeria and Egypt have a lot at stake because it's only one African nation that will be qualified to the World Cup to represent the African continent. So it's a lot at stake, and there is a lot of heat about the football matches that will be played in the near future. So it was a huge blow to the fans of Drogba when it was announced that he will not be taking part, and the coach has also made a mention that they're not sure of his status in the future of football due to health reasons. So we have this story lined up for you now.
The Ivory Coast soccer squad trained in Abidjan last Thursday, the eve of their World Cup qualifier against Gambia, without Didier Drogba, who wasn't selected. However, coach Sabri Lamouchi said earlier in the week that the former captain is still in his thoughts and just needs to return to top form. Drogba was one of 6 players from the Nations Cup squad dropped for the World Cup qualifier, in which the Ivorians are expected to increase their lead in Group C. They have 4 points from 2 matches. The 35-year-old former Chelsea forward has inspired the Ivorian national side to become the top-ranked team in Africa with 57 goals in 94 appearances, but some recent performances have disappointed the fans. As the squad trained at the stadium in Abidjan last Thursday, Ivorian Sports Minister Alain Lebonin assured people that all measures would be taken to avoid another catastrophe like the stampede after a New Year's Eve fireworks display outside which killed more than 60 people, a lot of them children. In 2009, another disaster happened at the same stadium during a match against Malawi when a wall collapsed, killing more than 20 spectators. Lebonin told Reuters, "Together with the FIF, Ivorian Football Federation, we will be making sure that the stadium is going to only be filled to capacity or even less. We can't have the luxury of exceeding the number of supporters in the stadium because it's about the security of our Ivorian citizens. The drama of January 1st and even the one from 2009 are still fresh in our memory, and we need to be very careful." In spite of its ranking, Ivory Coast fans have a love-hate relationship with their national team after failing to win the African Nations Cup recently. Player Yaya Toure said on last Thursday, "Our supporters should understand that even sometimes we go through difficult moments like them. It's not good not to win with players of our generation, and that's it. We're not going to give up. We will fight on." However, Coach Sabri Limouchi remains confident. "We have everything to be able to put on a good game. We simply hope that the Ivorian people will come out to support their team and that they will see a good game, particularly with a victory for Ivorians."
Welcome back, and our next story is from Mexico. Now, this is from the Temple of the Sun. And the Temple of the Sun is situated in this particular city in Mexico, and I have tried very hard to pronounce this name, and it's a little difficult. It's a bit of a tongue twister, and it goes something along the lines of Teotihuacan. So I hope my pronunciation was right in that. The Pyramid of the Sun, actually, the Pyramid of the Sun in Teotihuacan is right now generating a lot of publicity because there's a lot of tourists and locals gathered there for the festival in order to receive the first rays of the sun. Now we have a couple of visuals lined up for you where you will see how all these tourists have come, because this is a very precious festival for them. It means a lot. And also, just to add about the location of the Pyramid of the Sun, it's quite interesting because there's a lot of very interesting sounding names associated with it. The Pyramid of the Sun is the largest building in Teotihuacan and one of the largest in Mesoamerica, and also it is found along the Avenue of the Dead. So I think that's quite interesting because what other pyramid will be found along the Avenue of the Dead? But it is also the Pyramid of the Sun, so that means life, and it's quite an interesting story. And right now there are a lot of people gathered near the Pyramid of the Sun to receive the first rays of the sun. Let's take a look at this story.
Visitors flocked to the Pyramid of the Sun last Thursday in Teotihuacan, Mexico, and raised their hands to greet the sun during spring equinox celebrations. In order to receive the first rays of the sun and to gather energy for the year, tourists and locals alike trekked up the huge Pyramid of the Sun in the sacred city of Teotihuacan, located north of Mexico City. The spring equinox occurs in the middle of March and marks the beginning of spring in the northern hemisphere. Margarita Cruz, a Mexican tourist, soaked up the sun's rays last Thursday as she took part in a celebration. It's important to receive energy, receive spring, and more than anything to thank God, the Almighty, for what He gives us, the miracle of being here, of breathing, of feeling His energy, which fills us with more life in order to continue on the right path. To see ourselves better as human beings, one with the others, and not to destroy each other, but on the contrary, to pass on our energy to others, positive energy, Cruz said. Another Mexican tourist from Veracruz, Cuauhtemoc Perez, said they had come to the pyramid to ring in the new season. It's really wonderful. It's the first time we have come to the pyramids in Teotihuacan to fill ourselves with energy and welcome spring, he said. Participants at the annual event wear traditional white clothing and also participate in group dances. Some bring amulets and crystals to enhance their experience with the sun. Basically, we come to receive energy and receive this new year with more strength and to be positive in order to contribute with human development, said tourist Miguel Angel Navarro. The name Teotihuacan, the place where men become gods, was given by Aztecs who inhabited the area 700 years after the city was abandoned around 600 AD. The Aztecs were stunned by the monumental buildings and precise city planning. Experts believe that the Pyramid of the Sun was probably a fertility symbol built around 80 AD and shaped like a mountain to counteract the evil influence of two nearby volcanoes known to have gone through unusually violent eruptions at the time.
Good morning, and you are just back from seeing a lovely story in Mexico. As you saw, you had lots of locals and tourists raising their hands to the sun to catch the first rays of it in celebration of their festival at the Pyramid of the Sun, which is situated along a very interesting sounding avenue, which is the Avenue of the Dead. So that was a lovely story for you from Mexico, and I'm afraid that's all the time we have for you on Good Morning Sri Lanka today. We will see you tomorrow at the same time, and until then we hope you have a lovely day and a lovely Wednesday, and we'll see you on Thursday morning at the same time.